Okay.
I have to say, got it.
I've never met Marjolein. Marjolein, how do you say your last name anyway?
My last name, Mabelis.
Bayless. I've never met, sorry for I'm not going to do it as well. I've never met Marjolein Mabelis in person before today. So I've known her for I've seen her in a couple of presentations she's made online. And through work I've done through Sufi Way, I've had some connection with her. But today's the first time I've actually been able to see her and have a conversation with her. Before we begin, I'd like to make a recommendation to anyone watching this video. Ever since I met Elias and others in the Sufi Way, I started reaching out to people. I might just, people that were on retreat with me, I might write to them, or when I see something in Fresh Rain that means a lot to me, I will write to somebody and let them know that it touched me. And I just wanted to recommend that to people because this is a widely dispersed, large community, but we don't know, we only know who we know. So there are a lot of opportunities to get to make new friends and to have support and a different understanding of how the whole community works if we reach out to others. So I would just like to recommend that you might, just comment on somebody's Fresh Rain piece, or if you have an email address of somebody you've seen present, but you don't know them, to contact them and tell them what it meant to you, or, ask them a question, something where we can connect. So I just wanted to recommend that before we started. Okay, Marjolein, the first thing I like to ask people is, where are you? Like, paint me a picture of maybe the room you're in, the country, wherever. Just tell me about where you are.
Well, I'll start with that I live in Amsterdam and I am in my bedroom versus study at the moment. But I'd rather answer the question by telling you where I am in life at the moment. I had a dream for, I think, quite a long time, that I'd like to spend my working hours, or no, my main hours in life dealing with and talking about stuff that really makes a difference, or that really means something in life. And I've had that since I was a young girl, but I never managed to put my finger on what profession would kind of fit with that. So I was going to be a psychiatrist, and I was going to be a psychologist, and I was going to be a homeopathic doctor, and all of that, and that never materialized. And at some point here in the Netherlands, I found out that there is this profession called geestelijk verzorger, which is chaplain or spiritual counselor, or whatever, and that it has changed, that it is not connected per se to a religion anymore. So, and that there is also possibility to work like as a spiritual counselor. And another wish was that I would be able to do that work without the people that I was being present for had to pay for it themselves. And we live in a nation that has sort of social structures. But I needed to, well, okay, so that's what I wanted to be. Yes, because then if like in homes where people live that are not able to take care of themselves, there is always a spiritual counselor active and hired by the state, or paid by insurance or whatever, but not paid by the people that are helped out, or whatever, however you want to call it. So that's what I wanted to do. And I found out that I needed to do a university study for that, which I wasn't quite happy with, but I did it and I finished it. I finished it this February. And the whole process was also a very like a steam oven in personal development wise. And the period after that also with the family stuff going on. And so it was a very intense period. And I was a little exhausted when I left for a 4-week holiday, which I now know is very luxurious for United States standards, even for European standards. And I had been applying for jobs. And when I came back, I think within 8 days, I had my dream job. I applied and they phoned me the same day. I couldn't believe my ears. And they told me that I had the job. I had the job. And that was now 8 days ago. And I'll have my first full working day, which will be, of course, getting instructions coming Monday.
Mhm.
So I haven't really started yet, but the procedure is going on, and I can quit the job that I have been doing for a long time, 15 years, over 15 years, that I have to put in a lot of energy, and that doesn't feed me. Because, you know, about the reason, well, of course, I mean, spiritual caregiving or receiving is important, but it's also, I don't think that's the main reason that I love to do it. It's because it's so nurturing. It somehow I don't, it's difficult to put it in words, but it's there is no yeah, I mean, it's a cliche and it's a spiritual correct cliche, but it's true. So there's not me being present for the other or helping the other, but it's this mutual thing going on, and it's so there is another word for it, but I can't find it. Nurturing, that's actually what I want to say. And I can just now do that, and I get paid for it. So it's amazing. It's really amazing.
It is. Do you want to tell us where you're going, like what kind of a place you'll be working in?
It will. I'm not sure if I understood you, but I think I did. It will be. It's a home, quite a big home for people who are mainly old aged and are somehow can't look after themselves. So they would be physically limited, or sometimes they would have dementia. And there's also a palliative quarter, if you say that, or the part. And there is some part for revalidation, you say that? People who recover from operations, or they have an amputated limb or something, and they learn to look after themselves again, which of course also involves often a lot of loss. So it won't be a cheerful place in that respect, you know, because people will be in a bad spot and they have to deal with their loss of looking after themselves and life.
I am so happy to know that somebody like you will be there for people like that are going through that. That's
I
really
feel so blessed. I really feel so blessed.
That's
and
beautiful.
Also, you know, the way it all got together. It's just like the whole universe has made this huge plan, and I was just pushed along, and that's how it feels. So I'm over the moon. I'm really, really grateful. I'm very happy.
I definitely want to talk to you again after you've been doing it for a while. I want to hear about it.
Yes,
That's really beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure it won't be easy, but that's not what I'm after.
Right. But it'll sounds like it'll be nourished, like you said, nourishing and enriching.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely. Yeah.
Nice.
So I think
Anything
that's
else you want to say about where you are?
well, yeah, maybe what's also relevant is I have been I think that's also a question you wanted to ask. I've been involved with the Sufi way actively for over 20 years now. And I came into contact with Sufi way a lot far before that because my mother was had moved to Katwijk with her partner, with her then partner, when I was 11 or 12. So I met all those people who are now in the States, and they were living there, and it was fun. Like Puran was there, Isha was there, Kieran was there, and I mean, my brother and I and Kieran, we were really buddies. We had a lot of fun. And Elias was there at some point, but I can't remember him vividly. And Murshid Fazal was there, and Yona was there, and Hannah Mahara was there, and many people. So I met them when I was a kid, a teenager, and I was of course not. I was doing school, but I was interested. Then for 20 years, I got into a relationship, and so there was no contact with Sufi way. And then after 20 years, again. And I've been quite following everything that was there, especially online, because that's of course cheap. But also when something was in the Netherlands, I would be there. I was just attending everything. And at some point when I was studying, at some point that's faded a little, because it was almost a need to attend everything. I didn't want to miss out on anything. It's, I just want to be everywhere. But somehow that changed around. So, and it got to the point that this year, I don't think I have attended anything online. So I'm a bit, it looks like I'm kind of reinventing my position or my spirituality, or I don't know what it is yet. I'm trying to trust it. But it's, yeah, that's also where I am at the moment. Yeah.
How did you, after 20 years of being not connected and being in the relationship and things, how did you come back? How did you get back interested in doing things? Was it just like you went to one retreat, or you had this like, oh, how was that?
Actually, that was because the relationship I was in with a man who was rather dominant and had his own spiritual path that I was, of course, joining. We split up. That was also something that was kind of, the universe just wanted that to happen. It just happened. So I got a little loose. We lived together for a while, but we got a little space in between us, and I was more connected to my mother, and she was somehow got into contact with this circle of friends. Circle of friends. It used to be or it actually still is a sort of mailing list for old Sufi friends.
Oh.
But I don't know, it's kind of, the energy is out of it. It's not active anymore, but sometimes people post something. And then I saw Kieran, and I saw he was going to come to the Netherlands. And I mean, we were really, we loved him when we were kids, and we did games with him. And I just thought, hi, I'm going to see him. I'm going to meet him. And he invited me, actually. He said, why don't you come and we can talk? I find some time off and we can talk. So I did that, and that was an open evening of a Qawwali workshop. You know, he does Qawwali, and in the beginning, I wasn't very much caught by the Qawwali itself, but I was by his solos. They went right through me. So I was hooked immediately, and I attended the next workshop. And Hans was the one, together with Ida, he organized the workshops. So somehow we met, and there was another way that we met also. So we got together within 3/4 of a year, and we just dived into the Sufi way together.
Interesting. That I never knew about all of that, how it all came together. And it's interesting to me that you come back into the Sufi way through somebody else when you had already been in it before.
It was amazing. And Karen, I mean, there were several threads coming together. It was beautiful.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we haven't, you've mentioned your mother, but we haven't said who she was here.
She's Umtul
Until.
Valenton. It's my mother. Yeah.
And many people probably have seen her. She's done some presentations too in
Sure,
different
yeah.
retreats
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah. Yeah, she's an old timer.
I know when I first got into the Sufi way, I kept telling those people that they were the old ones, you know, but they're not that much older than me at all.
No, that's also old timer in the Sufi way. Yes. No. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is going to get posted on the Living Sufism Beloved Community Gathering spot. And I was wondering what is your concept of, if you have one, you might not even have one, of beloved community?
Well, it will be a little sang loose from the concept of because I didn't attend much this year. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's immediately connected to the oneness of being, of course. I mean, I can't see it differently. So I think for me, it will, in theory, of course, I mean, we'll encounter all beings. And that's a deeply beloved or deeply loved community for me, from my heart. But I mean, I'm talking in theory because I'm a very, very human being, and I get really annoyed with some people. And some people I will avoid. But there is always this awareness that they are usually they are suffering beings, but they found a way of suffering that's quite difficult to be with. So they are part of the beloved community, and I know that, you know, I can, even if I want to, I think often I can see their core, their vulnerable, or maybe no, actually I should say not at all vulnerable core, but also their vulnerable part. And then, of course, if we're talking about people who really are sadistic, or politicians who have many deaths on their consciousness, that's more difficult. I don't think I've never looked someone like that in the eye.
So how do we be with people like that we know are part of the beloved community, and they're hard to be with? How does that work? Do you have any? I mean, you might even have it, you know, confront that when you're working with people. Right. You know, yeah, you go in there to help them, and then they're not very nice to be around. You know, how do we see that in them? 。
what helps me, I think, is to connect with knowing. Yeah, I think that's the way to connect with knowing. And maybe I also mean rational knowing, because rationally I know that they are part of the beloved community and that they deserve to be. But there's also, of course, the bigger knowing, the stepping outside of my little being and being present. And I have never encountered a situation that I could not see the suffering. And that helps, of course, because that immediately awakes compassion. But I know I'm not a very brave person. So if somebody starts shouting boo right in my face, then I'm off. I mean, I don't have,
Well,
I'm quite aware.
you're part of the beloved community too, so you have to take care of that part.
Right. Right, yes. And so, yeah, there's not a watertight solution to encountering everybody or to incorporating everybody without a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
I have found for myself that I have to be careful, because if I see the perfect being in somebody who's being not kind, then I don't want to get caught up in not also caring for me. You know, like there still are the boundaries of, I see your beauty and your truth, and you're not going to hurt this beauty and truth too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's quite healthy. I think that's a pitfall that I need to really take care of. That the boundaries are very important. I tend to be a little sloppy about them. So that's
We weren't given boundary 101 classes in school, I don't think.
no, right. No.
Is there anything else you want to say while we're talking?
Well, usually I'm rather I'm better triggered by questions, because I don't easily come up with something.
Let me think if there's anything else I want to ask you. I feel like we covered a lot about your life in the Where You Are place, which I really enjoyed a lot. I'm so glad that you made that question into something bigger. That's what I wanted, actually.
I have no choice. It's all over me at the moment. It's just, yeah.
I am so happy. I'm so happy that all worked like that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And you did the work for it too.
Yeah. Yeah. But it also did itself. I was so fortunate, you know, when I was doing my end thesis, which is quite a challenge. I had two dreams. I think one where Murshid Fazal figured, and he said, I think he had said something like, "Beam, my dear, beam, give me all you got." Yeah. And another one where Murshid Elias figured, and he said, "Don't worry, it will all do itself," something like that, or it writes itself. I had a talk with him once when I was on another thesis, and I was telling him about the struggle of writing. It can be a real struggle. And he said, well, yes, he recognized it, but he also said it does itself. And it's true, it does. And those two dreams really, really, really helped me.
I believe that. It's
yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah. Because I tend to get a little fear, a lot of fear of failure, and perfectionism. My standards are higher than the ones that they're using, at the university. And I needed time also to discover that, because I didn't know the standards. I had to find out the standards. So it was a very it was a challenging couple of years. It was, and very beautiful and very enriching, really. Yeah.
That makes me happy. Well, I don't have anything else. And if you don't either, I guess we can end this. And I just really appreciate, we worked hard to get this time together, to figure out a time to the schedule would work for both of us. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. It's my pleasure. And thank you for the honor. I mean, this is a great honor to be, talking about yourself and somebody being interested. Yeah, that's great. It's a gift.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad it is both ways then. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.